he goes on to say that there are two main ways to relieve suffering. One is to remove the event, which I wish we could. I don't have that magic wand as of yet, but I promise you I'll be here to share that with you once I find it. But since we can't necessarily remove the event, we can change our mental reaction to that event. And that event, of course, is illness, in our case, cancer. So when we talk about relieving suffering on the level of the mind, what are we talking about? We're talking about what I call points of engagement. We can resolve fear and negativity. We can resolve past traumas. We can certainly resolve helplessness and hopelessness because we are neither. And we can certainly resolve shame, guilt, and self-blame. All of these, I like to call them points of engagement because basically what they allow us to do is to point us in the right direction and show us that there's a lot that we can do, each and every one of us. There's a lot that we can do to improve the functioning of our immune system, to improve or increase resiliency, and basically enhance our coping skills with that very difficult challenge. When, in the quote of Dr. Cunningham, he referred to perception as the cause of suffering, one of the causes of suffering. I would like to add to that the element of beliefs. It's not only how we perceive our condition, our situation to be, whether dire or not, but it's also what we believe about our illness. A lot of people, a lot of clients that I work with, first hold on to the belief, or they have this belief that cancer is, and it's a dead end, that it's mostly, it's a death sentence, and it's not necessarily the case. And it's important to recognize that beliefs and perceptions, these are actually the main two reasons why we even get stressed to begin with. First, we perceive the situation, having cancer, to be dangerous, difficult, or painful. How many of you, by the way, perceive cancer in that way? That it's difficult, dangerous, and painful. And you can certainly think that way or perceive cancer that way because treatment sometimes isn't pleasant and sometimes physically demanding. So you would be right to perceive it this way. How many of you believe, by the way, entertained, and I want you to be honest, that something within you or about you have made it happen? That you are somehow, for whatever reason, responsible for your cancer? I get to meet a lot of people who somehow believe that they have done something, that there's something broken within them, something that isn't working within them that is causing this symptomology, having cancer. I will take questions at the end of that presentation, I'm sorry. And so I want to say that nothing that you have done consciously, I want to contradict that belief right from the get-go because it just isn't true. If there was something, think about it, if there was something that we could have done, in other words, if there was something that we have done that would have brought this on, we could just as easily reverse that and eliminate that symptom altogether. While it is true that physical symptoms are the tangible evidence of what's going on inside our mind, it isn't exactly linear in that particular way because a lot of what might not be okay with us or balanced within us is way below our conscious level of awareness. So we cannot possibly be responsible for what we are not aware of. This just isn't fair. And to hold yourself at blame at that point is just not right. It's just unfair and just add to the amount of suffering one would already go through. So I want to dispel that, and I'm going to show you how to do that because it is clear that stress, based on all the data that we have today, stress can impair the functioning of our immune system, and we want to make sure that we are on the other end of that, that we can improve the functioning of our immune system, that we can boost our sense of self and our ability to be resilient and cope. One of the ways to engage with these point of engagements, to resolve the mental suffering that we experience and address those elements that are below our conscious level of awareness, is hypnosis. A lot of people have different ideas about hypnosis, but it's really just a very natural phenomenon, one that we go in and out of each and every day. And when you get to understand what is hypnosis and why is it even talked about in this context, it'll become very clear to you that hypnosis is nothing but a key, a tool, a key to the door of the subconscious mind. Why do we have to get into the subconscious mind? Because the subconscious mind is where beliefs, perceptions, and other ideas or information that we hold about ourselves, that's where it resides. So if you want to affect any change, you have to affect it on the level of where it is. You have to work within this realm we call the subconscious mind, below our conscious level of awareness, to identify these aspects and revisit them and revisit their validity. And I will show you how it's done. But hypnosis, the very definition of hypnosis, is simple. It is a state of focused attention. And it is a state of, it's a heightened state of belief and suggestibility. The reason I say that each and every one of us is experiencing that state, that state of focused attention each and every day, is because whenever you read a good book and become completely immersed in that story, whenever you watch a television show or watch a movie, that you become completely involved with the characters to the point that you can cry because it's sad, to the point that you can feel elation because it's happy or inspiring. The point is, you become completely immersed in that experience, and in that moment, you're utilizing the very natural phenomenon of hypnosis. We may not have called it that way, but this is exactly what it is. And so this is important to understand. Hypnosis is a very natural phenomenon that is experienced each and every day. And it's a heightened state of belief. What we experience become very real to us. And in the case of the process I'm going to explore here, it's going to be, you're going to understand why we need that state of heightened belief. Because we want to make sure that what we experience is absolutely authentic. And as you will see, authenticity is really the bridge for transformation. Now, as an aside, hypnosis isn't new. It's been around for a long time, and possibly since the 1950s, it has been accepted by the medical establishment as a valid form of therapeutic intervention. And it has been employed in cancer before, in the care for symptom management such as pain or hot flashes and various others, in treatment side effects such as nausea, in improving coping and resiliency, just enhancing people's attitudes about treatment, helping them form a healthier attitude and enhance their coping skills, their belief in themselves, that they have the inner resources to cope, and enhancing their quality of life, helping people develop or cultivate a mindset of hope and resiliency. So all of these have been employed before. What we are here to do is to talk about a new approach, or kind of talk about the advancement of hypnosis in the realm of cancer care. And it's based on the following three premises. One is that the body's immune system is designed to defend against all illnesses, and cancer included. The second one is that harmful states of mind suppress the functioning of the immune system. Mainly, we talk about stress, but stress can mean different things to different people. Basically, we talk about a state of anger, rage, shame, guilt, trauma. All of those have shown the ability to inhibit the functioning of the immune system. And the third one is a very bold statement, but I'm very comfortable making it because I've seen it happen before, that if these harmful states of mind can be resolved, the immune system can be revived, and cancer can be prevented or even healed. These are the three premises for integrating hypnosis into mainstream cancer care. And it brings us to what I call the application model. The application model was conceived by Stephen Parkhill, who is a noted hypnotist himself, and it beautifully illustrates the power of the method we're going to work here with today, which is called regression to cause. This upside-down pyramid model allows us to understand the power of removing the root cause of patients' mental distress. The root cause can be described as any moment in time where an external event, something that happened to us in our life, have impacted us to a great extent and altered our perception of ourselves from good and positive and kind and healthy to anything other than that. It usually happens during childhood years, and it usually impacts us in a negative and limiting way. So using this method called regression to cause, we can achieve something very wonderful. We can utilize the mind's ability to travel back and forth along the timeline of our life. And we can have the adult as who we are today, the client, he or she. We can have their mind identify a moment in time, a situation or event that it believes, and this is very important, that the mind believes is associated with creating this level of distress. And it can be as far back in time as the very early years of our lives. Once, and let me give you an example that will make it even simpler. So it has very little to do with cancer, but it will illustrate the power of this technique. So if you grew up like me, you probably heard the sentence or the statement, you better eat the food off your plate because the kid's hungry in that relevant period of time, country, place. Ever heard that statement? Now, as adults, we obviously understand that all the caretaker was trying to do is bestow appreciation within the child for the amount of food on their plate, right? But listen to this. If the child has not traveled, the very concept of another country just doesn't exist. What does it mean? Does it mean beyond kindergarten? Beyond school? The route to school? Where is another country? It doesn't make any sense. And then again, if the child has never been hungry, and I mean really hungry, how can the child understand the concept of hunger? It cannot. So while we, the caretakers, and I have 2 little daughters, while we would like the child to understand what we're trying to say, that's not what the child hears at all. In fact, the child hears something very different. The child hears, if you do this, I would love you more. Because that's all the child can understand. Obviously, if I'll please the adult, the caretaker, they'll be nicer to me. They'll be happy. I mean, they're a good book. So now, what do? Well, I begin to consume food. And I eat all the food on my plate, only to find a few weeks, months, years later that I have a habitual behavior around food and eating that is causing me a tremendous amount of physical difficulty.